Former AEW Women's World Champion Mariah May shares a message on social media amid reports her AEW contract could be set to expire this year, with more rumours suggesting she could be on her way out of All Elite Wrestling. One person who's on his way possibly to WWE is Jeff Cobb. New Japan Pro Wrestling have announced he's finishing up with New Japan amid these rumours of WWE interest. Triple H reveals how he and CM Punk worked things out when CM Punk didn't like creative after his return to WWE. Chelsea Green was reportedly legitimately counted out during a finish to the match on SmackDown last Friday. We have an update on Brock Lesnar's WWE status after he was name dropped by Cody Rhodes on SmackDown. A new report shares details on Joe Hendry TNA / WWE plans that were changed after pushback from TNA Wrestling. Several matches and segments are confirmed for tonight's WrestleMania 41 go-home episode of Monday Night Raw on Netflix, and NFL legend Tom Brady hints at a WrestleMania appearance. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Before we start, you can see right there, we are less than 200 subscribers away from 21,000 subscribers. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and join the ever-expanding WNU, that being the Wrestle News universe. Also a reminder, you can see it right there on the sidebar. We will be live this evening for the WrestleMania 41 go-home episode of Monday Night Raw, a post-show and a watch-along. I'm going to be live 15 minutes before Raw goes on the air live around the globe on Netflix, so be sure to join me there for that and also the post-show. In addition to that, whilst you're looking at the sidebar, you can see all upcoming watch-alongs this week. It's a busy week. In the world of professional wrestling, we've got watch-alongs for Raw, SmackDown, NXT Stand and Deliver, both nights of WrestleMania, the Raw after WrestleMania, and you never know, maybe some shows in between. All of the details, as always, will be in the sidebar. You can also join the WN365 roster, scan the QR code, links also in the video description for that. Let's begin with Mariah May and possibly a surprising exit for the former AEW Women's World Champion from All Elite Wrestling. Now, former AEW Women's World Champion Mariah May has shared a cryptic message amid her ongoing AEW contract expiration. Mariah May and Toni Storm's historic rivalry came to a brutal end at AEW Revolution in March, when timeless Toni Storm retained her World Championship against Mariah in the Hollywood ending. Now, since the defeat, Mariah has not been seen on AEW television, with it recently being reported that Mariah was in a contract year with AEW. Amid her ongoing contract expiration rumors, Mariah took to her Instagram story where she shared a rather cryptic quote. It reads, quote, "You can't make the wrong decision because every decision leads you to where you're supposed to be," end quote. Now, Toni made the latest defense of her AEW Women's World Championship at AEW Dynasty, where she defeated Megan Bayne. Timeless Toni Storm is set to defend her title at AEW All in Texas against the winner of the 2025 Women's Owen Hart Foundation Tournament. Of course, if we get any more details on Mariah May's future, we'll let you know. The latest report suggested, indeed, that Mariah May was in a contract year. However, there was speculation and pushback suggesting that surely Mariah May would not be getting a huge push like she did without there at the minimum being option years in play. If we get any more details, we'll let you know in a future video. Now, a big update here when it comes to Jeff Cobb and his future and lack thereof in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Jeff Cobb is set to finish up with New Japan Pro Wrestling in just a few days, with the promotion announcing they have come to terms with Cobb on his departure following the wrestler's request. Cobb will have his final New Japan match on night 1 of the Road to Wrestling Dontaku Tour on Saturday, April 19th. Cobb will finish up with a match against New Japan President Hiroshi Tanahashi. As a result of Cobb's impending exit, the IWGP Tag Team Championships have been vacated. Cobb and United Empire stablemate Callum Newman only won the bouts 9 days ago at Sakura Genesis, where they defeated Tetsuya Naito and Hiromu Takahashi. Cobb's exit from New Japan Pro Wrestling won't come as a shock to many fans, as it emerged in March that WWE were very interested in signing Cobb. The 42-year-old, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, was even already listed on the company's internal roster, although there was pushback just to his status at the time. Now, Cobb has wrestled for New Japan since 2017. He will end his time in the promotion as a 3-time IWGP Tag Team Champion, 1-time Never Openweight Champion, and 1-time New Japan World Television Champion. If we get any more details on Cobb, his wrestling future, and a possible move to WWE, we'll let you know in a future video. Now, it's WrestleMania week, and Triple H has been talking about his relationship with CM Punk. Punk stated that hell froze over when he returned to WWE at Survivor Series 2023. Of course, that famous picture you can see right there, pointing with Triple H. The two men famously clashed on screen and behind the scenes when Triple H was an active performer in the early 2010s, but time and a conversation healed wounds, setting the table for Punk's return. Speaking to the High Performance Podcast, Triple H commented on his current relationship with Punk and how they work things out if there are creative differences, saying, quote, "We've had a couple of moments since his return. There was one moment where he'd return and they told him something creatively and they told me he does not like this. I was like, okay, I'll talk to him. Went and talked to him, what's going on? I told him the creative and he was like, that's good, whatever. I was like, I know you don't like it. Everybody's told me, let's be open. He complained about what it was. I said, let's go and sit and talk about it and come up with something good. That sort of changed. It was like a paradigm shift for us relationship-wise. And now, it's a funny thing for me to say, sitting down and being collaborative with CM Punk is one of my favorite things in TV because he shares a very similar viewpoint at the end of the day of the business as I do, said Triple H. Of course, Punk is set to headline WrestleMania for the first time when he competes against Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania 41 Saturday coming up this weekend. Now, if you thought the finish to a match on SmackDown seemed a bit odd, you were actually pretty right in your instincts. Now, countouts are a rare sight in WWE matches, but that's exactly what happened on last week's SmackDown when Chelsea Green suffered a quick loss to Zelina Vega. It now seems the countout wasn't part of the original plans, with the referee making the call on the fly. Green, the current Women's United States Champion, was displeased about her Secret Service not being ringside during her match, which eventually led to her loss. PW Insider was told by sources in WWE that Green, who was counted out after she was kicked out of the ring, may not have heard referee Ryan Tran begin the count when she was outside complaining to the announcers. A source suggested that Green may have thought the referee had stopped the count after she threw Vega into the ring again, but the referee continued his count and awarded the victory to Vega when Green didn't return in time. The referee had to call the match in Vega's favor as it was on live TV and was left with no choice as per the report. The report added the match was supposed to have gone on for longer, although Vega was originally supposed to win the match. Despite the finish not ending how it was planned, neither star has heat behind the scenes, as WWE executives believes that it's just something that happens during a live television show. PW Insider also stated that neither Green nor Vega was impaired or injured during the match for them to bring it to an end earlier than planned. After the bell rang to signal the end of the match, there were a few seconds of awkwardness as Green didn't know what happened before the ring announcer informed everyone that she had been counted out. Green, as of recording, doesn't have a match at WrestleMania 41, but is set to partner with her secret Hervis, that being Piper Niven and Alba Fyre, in a tag team match against the team of Vega, Kaden Carter, and Katana Chance on next week's episode of SmackDown. Now, a bit of an update here when it comes to Brock Lesnar. I say a bit of an update because really it might not be no real update because his status really hasn't changed all that much. But people were talking about Lesnar because on the April 11th edition of SmackDown, current undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes referenced Brock Lesnar during his in-ring promo. Rhodes, in building his upcoming match with John Cena at WrestleMania 41, said that he does his best fighting when he's backed into a corner, noting that's what he'd been told and that's what he'd said to the likes of Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. Naturally, any mention of Lesnar will cause some fans to wonder whether it is a tease for the Beast Incarnate's WWE return. According to a new report from Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, there are currently no plans to bring Brock back, and there have been no conversations about such behind the scenes. WWE stance evidently remains unchanged since Lesnar was implicated in Janelle Grant's lawsuit against Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and WWE. To date, Lesnar's last WWE appearance was his loss to Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam back in 2023. Cody later revealed that Lesnar sent him an entire cow's worth of steaks following their series of matches. Lesnar, of course, was due to return in the men's 2024 Royal Rumble match, but his creative plans were given to Bron Breakker after the Grant lawsuit became public knowledge. Now, this is a really interesting story here when it comes to WWE's relationship with TNA and maybe a not so positive moment between the two sides. The TNA-WWE relationship almost had a much different feud. WWE and TNA have a relationship that features talent across several brands. One surprising element to many was that the uber-popular Joe Hendry hadn't appeared on the WWE main roster outside of the men's Royal Rumble match earlier this year. There was, though, a pitch for it to happen, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select. Fightful Select are reporting they have learned that earlier this year there was an idea that would have seen Hendry appear on WWE Raw. However, Fightful were told that Ariel Sherner didn't agree with the creative, which likely would have seen Hendry taking a loss. one of the ideas was that it would be a catalyst for a feud with The Miz. Of course, none of that ended up happening, but WWE has sent Ethan Page over to TNA for what Fightful have been told is a very similar piece of creative to what would have been planned. Now, Fightful have been told this was another contributing factor to WWE souring quite a bit on Ariel Sherner. There had been a situation where WWE talent in NXT requested Sherner not be in the locker room. Not anything personal to him, but they believed it should be limited to talent. Now, let's go over to Raw tonight. As I mentioned, I will be doing a live watch-along and a post-show, so be sure to join me this evening. And a new match and segment has been announced for tonight's edition of Raw, of course, the WrestleMania 41 Go Home show. The episode of Raw is set to be the Go Home episode of the show ahead of this coming weekend's WrestleMania 41 event. The show is advertised to feature an appearance from Roman Reigns ahead of his triple threat match against CM Punk and Seth Rollins on WrestleMania Saturday, as well as AJ Styles taking on Karrion Kross. Ahead of tonight's episode in Sacramento, California, Raw General Manager Adam Pearce has now announced that Bayley will face off against Liv Morgan on tonight's show. Bayley and Lyra Valkyria were victorious in a women's tag team gauntlet match on Friday's episode of SmackDown, earning them a shot at Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez's women's tag team championship at WrestleMania. Furthermore, Pearce also announced appearances on the show from Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman, Logan Paul, and World Heavyweight Champion Gunther. Be sure to join us for the watch-along later on this evening. And finally, we could get a very special appearance at WrestleMania from NFL legend Tom Brady. For professional wrestling fans, WWE WrestleMania is the equivalent to the National Football League Super Bowl. Per Fox News Digital, those two worlds might collide this weekend at WrestleMania 41, could potentially produce an appearance from a name quite familiar with the Super Bowl. Quote, "I may be there," Tom Brady, a record-holding 7-time Super Bowl champion, told the outlet. "But it's amazing what's going on there, and it's amazing what's happening with WWE and all the different things surrounding that," he said. Brady is best known for his 20-season run with the New England Patriots, in which he enjoyed 6 stints with the NFL's grandest prize. His final Super Bowl trophy came with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the 2020 season. In early 2023, Brady announced his permanent retirement from the field. Since then, he has come aboard as a color commentator for NFL on Fox and a minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders franchise. He also received a WrestleMania 39 invite from Cody Rhodes with the American Nightmare, adding that the NFL legend might have a future in WWE now. WrestleMania 41 will emanate from Allegiant Stadium, home of the Raiders, on April 19th and 20th. Last year, Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson of the Philadelphia Eagles initially appeared behind Marsh during a WrestleMania tag team match, pitting Dominic Mysterio and Santos Escobar against Rey Mysterio and Andrade. Specifically, the two stopped Dominic from illegally using a chair, which opened the door for Rey to land a frog splash on Escobar for the victory. But there you go, guys. That's the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe. As you can see right there, once again, we are less than 200 subscribers to go until 21,000 for the biggest week on the pro wrestling calendar. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. We're going to have daily news videos, countdown videos, watch-alongs, post-shows, everything in between you can possibly think of. So now's the time to subscribe if you haven't already. Join the ever-expanding WNU, that being the Wrestle News universe. In addition to that, you can join the WN365 roster, another great way to support the channel. You get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive members-only content. Just click the join button, links in the video description. You can scan the QR code when it appears on the sidebar. Speaking of which, you can see it right there with NXT Stand and Deliver. All upcoming watch-alongs and post-shows are featured on the sidebar, so you know exactly when you can join us live. All times are at UK time, British summertime, but you can figure out the conversion when it comes to that as well. It's a busy week. We've got Raws, SmackDown, NXT, WrestleMania, Raw after WrestleMania, and who knows, maybe some more stuff happening in between. So be sure to join us then. Appreciate everyone for tuning in, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.